Mr. Sholmes? Oh my god! What were those animations? What is it? You want to fight? I very nearly dropped you to the floor with one of my famous right hooks. Look at him, he's so ready to go. Heading on to the adventure of the unbreakable speckled band. Looks like we're taking a ship. Oh, my head is throbbing. What's going on? Wait. I can't move. Oh, no. So you wake up now, Who's this? Is this? Oh. We had to drag you out of the wardrobe. You found me then. We found you. And now you pay, criminal. Only one thing I'd like to know from you. Who's this? Isn't that... Oh. Why did you do it? Why did you take his life? Oh. Wow, we're just thrown right back in, huh? Take his life? Where is he? Where's Kazuma? Oh, did he die already?
Ha! You pretend you do not know? You are a wolf in sheep's belt.
Kazuma-sama's body was discovered not long ago. Here, in this very cabin that was bolted shut from the inside. I was honestly expecting him to live a little longer. I felt like he was gonna die, but I didn't think this quickly. It was just 2 short weeks ago. Are you sure about this? Won't we get in trouble? Don't you find it fun being a stowaway? It was really something else when they brought your luggage in here earlier, though. The way that Russian crewman just tossed your traveling case onto the floor. I thought I was gonna die. I really didn't think you'd be able to fit inside my trunk. Well, it's about 50 days until we dock and... I didn't even think about the fact that it would take a long time to get there by boat. Oh my god. Why do we need to keep it a secret from the young lady? I don't believe she'd give me away. No. But if she knew what we'd done, that would make her guilty by association. It's best that only you and I know about this. It's about the time that the steward is supposed to come and clean the cabin. I know it's cramped, but you'd better get in there, I think. What if this steward decides to open the wardrobe for some reason? Why don't you write keep out or something on this piece of paper? Then I can stick it to the wardrobe doors once you're inside. This was a stupid idea.
We leave at next port. Stay quiet until then. Don't make more trouble for yourself. Murderer!
I mean, yes, I did stow away on the ship, but murdering my best friend?
No one else could have done it. Admit the truth.
I suppose all I can do is to try and find out what really happened. When they found him, the cabin was locked from the inside. The bolt on the door can't be operated from outside. Or to put it another way, the culprit can only have been somebody inside this cabin. How did he die then? What happened exactly? The cause of death is still undetermined. I don't suppose we shall learn more until an expert has been consulted at our next port of call. So presumably that means there were no obvious external signs of injury then? That's true, yes. Why are you even on board this ship, Naruhodo-san? You said something before about being a stowaway, didn't you? But how could you have occupied Kazuma-sama's cabin for so long without him noticing? No, that would have been impossible, obviously. Kazuma invited me. He wanted us to go to England together. Kazuma, why do you want this? What's the real reason? Why go to such extreme lengths to smuggle me to England with you? It's an idea that's been on my mind ever since the end of that incredible trial. I think I told you then, didn't I, that you ought to become a lawyer yourself. But on a personal level, if you were to become a lawyer, then... Then? Nothing. Forget. But the look in his eyes then. It was darker than I've ever seen it before. If you're not the culprit, then tell me, what happened last night here in this cabin? I don't really remember. Kazuma brought me something to eat, just like he always did. And then I got myself into that wardrobe over there, just like I always did. After that, I fell asleep. So deeply you didn't even stir when Kazuma-sama was killed? Well... Yes. I'm gonna investigate. I'm gonna find out exactly what happened here. So I'm sorry. But you're gonna have to excuse me. What? Dang. What the... That was a Susato takedown. I'm going to need you to prove it. Sorry, prove it? Can I get up? Yes, your innocence. I need evidence. Right here. He sticks it on the thing. Tell me, when I was discovered in the wardrobe before, was this piece of paper stuck over the doors? Oh, yes it was. I remember clearly. I thought so. Kazuma always put it in place whenever I went to sleep in there. Yes, of course. The gentleman who discovered you peeled that sign from the wardrobe doors. But if I were truly the culprit, I couldn't have climbed back inside the wardrobe and stuck this on the outside of the doors on my own. In the light of that evidence, I don't see any reason why I should stop you from investigating in here, at least. Thank you. So you finally believe me? I'm sorry, no. What? I can't rule out the possibility that you used some sort of conjuring trick to put the sign back in position. For now, I suggest you investigate as thoroughly as possible in here. I shall be watching you to make sure you do nothing that might disturb the crime scene. I wouldn't want you using your conjuring tricks to destroy evidence, for example. What the heck is this? That's my dinner from last night. A roast chicken. It was really tasty. Yes, it was very delicious, wasn't it? But did you eat it on the floor here? I'm not a dog, Susato-san. I eat at the table, of course. Which begs the question of when and how the plate ended up on the floor. But Kazuma-sama didn't like chicken at all, did he? No, that's right, so we didn't touch it. Yeah, we got the... Yeah, we can do that. I didn't mean to click on that. This is where dear Kazuma-sama would have sat whenever he was writing. It looks as though the last entry is incomplete. Which means what? He was in the middle of writing it when the incident happened? Okay, this has been bothering me. The books have fallen over on the shelf. Look, they're all toppled over in the same way. Well, I'll just set everything straight again. I don't like to see a mess. What's this? These are the rules of passage for travel aboard the SS Burya. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. Are you more of a dangerous object or a pet? Now, what's this? This is... Yes, it's a bell cord contraption, I think. Large households often have bell cords like this, which you can pull to ring a bell to summon servants. Shall we give it a little try? Yes. In the interests of cultural research, obviously. I suppose nobody... Oh my god! I suppose nobody comes for lowly Japanese people. No, I'm sure it's just that everyone's busy, that's all. Okay, yeah, this was suspicious. I think that's some kind of opening for a ventilator. A hole through which fresh air can circulate into the cabin. This ventilator, if that's what it is, looks like it must connect to the next door cabin. Alright, what's this? This purple. What do you think this is? It looks like a broken piece of glassware. And the mark beside it. What is it, I wonder? It has some sort of brick-like hue. Door? When I went for help and the crewmen forced the door open, this bolt had been firmly closed. I remember reading once in a detective novel, the culprit used a needle and thread to draw bolts across from outside the room in a situation like this. Yes, that's a clever trick, isn't it? I'm an avid reader of detective stories myself, but the door of this cabin and its frame are made of metal, and they seal together perfectly. There would be no possibility of using a needle and thread trick here, I'm afraid. Alright. Perhaps I should see what this Russian crewman makes of the scene of the crime. Excuse me.
What?
So, last night, did you notice anything out of the ordinary at all?
Niet, of course not. Now back to corner of room and make silent. I say no more to you.
Did I hit a nerve? Just for a minute there, he seemed a little flustered. Okay, we'll go to this now. Did Kazuma write that before he died? It looks like it's written in ink. I suppose he was trying to leave some kind of clue in his final moments, was he? It's not a foreign script I'm familiar with. What does it mean, I wonder? It has like the Waluigi symbol. Hello! And is he investigating Kazuma's desk, or is he just playing on it? Excuse me, do you have a moment?
Greetings. I hope I haven't kept you long.
What exactly were you doing on Kazuma's desk just now?
The train of reasoning has run its course. My deductions have crystallized. You have been in Afghanistan, I perceive. Just recently returned, if I'm not mistaken. What? And now, whilst venturing towards foreign climes, you find yourself in a most troubling predicament.
Oh, well, that's true at least.
It really was a most elementary deduction, hardly worth explaining.
Have you perhaps managed to deduce anything else?
But of course, a great many things. You may have fled your native land of Russia, being as you are a merciless revolutionary. You leave 16 victims of assassination in your wake, now travel to England to blow up the Crystal Tower. And when the beribboned document of this very cabin discovered your identity, you ended his life too.
Just to be clear, you're talking about me, are you?
Certainly I am. Do you see another man in this cabin who fits the bill? A Russian assassin with 16 victims to his name? What are those poses he was doing?
So it's true. It was you who did this to Kazuma-sama. How could you do it? For pity's sake, open your eyes. I'm not a Russian revolutionary, obviously. Oh, forgive me. And as for you, what kind of deduction was that? You were just saying the first thing that came into your head.
Ah, but was I not right? Whilst venturing toward foreign climes, you do find yourself in a most troubling predicament, do you not?
I mean, it's kind of obvious, buddy. The ship is en route to England, and I'm in handcuffs at the scene of a murder. So, I'm not really sure you could call it deduction. It's more plain observation, buddy.
Indeed, an observation, my dear boy, is the basis of all deduction. My method is founded upon the observation of trifles, you see. I announce my findings with a brassy certitude, and more often than not, I'm right.
Huh. I don't think you introduced yourself.
I'm none other than the greatest detective of the century, known to men and women the world over. The inimitable Herlock Sholmes.
Do you know this man, Susato-san? The most famous detective in the world? Naruhodo-san, of course I do. There's nobody who hasn't heard of him.
You can read all about my exploits in this exciting London publication.
Oh yes, Ranced magazine, full of wonderful short stories and interest articles from Great Britain. Wait, oh my god, Susato, are you just a Westaboo? Are you just are you a Britaboo? I think she's a Britaboo. Oh no.
My trusty biographer records my greatest detecting achievements and chronicles them in the magazine.
You have a biographer, do you?
Doesn't everyone? Mine goes by the name of Dr. Wilson, presently keeping shop in London.
Have you managed to deduce anything about this particular case yet?
Have I managed to deduce anything? My dear fellow! Who do you suppose discovered the culprit in his most cunning hiding place? That's right! It was none other than the great detective before you now. Observe the dying message left by the victim on the floor. Garderobe. That is the Russian word for wardrobe.
Do you really think Kazuma-sama could have left a dying message in Russian?
In the final moments, many find their native tongue filling their head. For this young man, Russian. Initially, I considered Garderobe may be the name of the killer. A certain Robert Gard, perhaps.
Oh my god. That is, like, my man is Ace Attorney brained right now.
I took a photograph of the victim and the message, that I might analyze it for possible hidden details.
This
was taken immediately after the young man was discovered, before the body was removed.
Before we started talking, you were examining Kazuma's desk, weren't you?
Observe for a moment the desktop of the victim.
Okay.
We see that the victim was engaged in penning some text.
I don't think you should read his private writings. It could upset people.
Tragic, and something you ought to perhaps elucidate before the act of reading.
Oh, I see. Well, you're about to know what a Susato takedown is. No, she's fine with it. She just does it to us. Susato-san, aren't you gonna throw the... Aren't you gonna throw the detective one of your trademark takedowns? I'm sorry, Naruhodo-san. What on earth do you mean? Life is so unfair. The final entry here in Kazuma-sama's diary consists of just 2 short sentences. The first reads, 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. The second sentence reads, 1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. Oh my god. Bro got bit by a snake? Can we talk about your deduction before? The things you concluded about me, I mean.
Yes. The more sordid details. It was a fairly commonplace deduction. Here we have this morning's paper. The main headline reads... Revolutionary Villain Bolshevik. His name is Villain Bolshevik.
Oh my god, really?
You may find the article on the back page of interest as well.
Okay, well, you say that, huh? Oh?
I'm glad you've noticed this article. Allow me to give you a short summary of its contents.
Oh, thank you.
Pops up everywhere, this, Mr. Sholmes. It's about the disappearance of a young lady last night. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. During a performance in Shanghai, the famous dancer was reported missing. She is, of course, the talented young Nikolina Pavlova. It appeared the woman was in costume and she was found to be missing from a dressing room, wearing the diamond tiara you see pictured, which is worth some 20,000 rubles.
Is something wrong, Naruhodo-san? Oh, no, it's just that crewman standing by the door. Can't help feel like I've seen him somewhere before. I didn't know you were here, Inspector Hosonaga. I received some special orders to go undercover as a member of the crew and board this ship.
What are your special orders this time, Inspector?
My orders were to act as Asogi-san's bodyguard. Oh, it was Minister of Justice Jigoku who pushed for this overseas study tour to go ahead.
Doesn't Jigoku mean hell?
And he entrusted me with ensuring that Asogi-san reached Great Britain without being assassinated.
Assassinated? How could that even have been possible?
And I didn't take my eyes off him the entire time we've been on board. From morning until night, every day. But I never imagined it would happen here, inside his own cabin. Not here on the first-class deck. If there's anything at all I can do to help now, just say the word.
We're doing what we can to investigate Kazuma's death ourselves.
I thought you might be. You didn't do it, did you? You'd really like to investigate the cabin next door. If I had a solid reason why the next-door cabin should be investigated, I'd do everything I could to persuade the captain to allow it.
And specifically, we're gonna say... Right? Dangling from the ventilator grill. Boom.
What's that? It's Kazuma's diary. He wrote what looks like some kind of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill.
That ventilator clearly joins the next-door cabin.
That's right. So if we could investigate in there, we might be able to work out what the speckled band is.
Alright then.
Huh?
The captain has given me strict orders to guard the scene of the crime, you see. I'll have to entrust the investigation to you.
Really? You're willing to do that?
Yes, as long as you don't leave the first-class cabin area.
What about the captain? Aren't you going against his direct orders?
I promise you that I'll lay my life on the line if that's what it takes to convince the captain. After all, I failed to keep Asogi-san safe. This is the least I can do. Let's get out of the cabin. Okay. Sorry, is that a mouse trap down there? Well, the first thing I want to do is examine. It's not what I wanted to examine, but alright. This is it. This is the cabin next to ours. The one the ventilator connects to. It's not what I wanted to do. Oh! Uh-oh, you are large, and also navel showing. What is with your stripes, buddy?
It doesn't look like he's gonna let us pass.
What's with this alarm? What do you think this is?
It looks as though it sets alarm bells ringing all over the ship, and brings the vessel to a complete stop.
Oh, this I have to say. What are you doing, Naruhodo-san? You mustn't touch it.
But this is an emergency situation. Just look at these handcuffs. You know full well that's not what the alarm is for.
Protocols.
That's a huge book on top of the table there. There's a pen next to it. Yes, that looks like the ship's log. Last night's log is mostly blank. Presumably that means there was nothing to report. Alright.
I am senior crewman. Beef Stroganoff. Yeah! Freaking 10 out of 10 name. Here we are in finest part of Boreas steamship. For very important persons.
What sort of very important persons?
Government officials, kings and queens traveling in secret. Many important persons.
Is the cabin next to Mr. Asogi's currently occupied?
Da.
Sasada-san, did you understand that? It sounded like da. Yeah? Okay. I think it's probably Russian for yes. Or no. Genius. Are you on watch here all the time, Seaman? Oh, no. Not Seaman Stroganoff. No!
Da. All time. So criminals like you cannot come in or get out.
I wonder, could you tell us anything about last night at all?
It is sad about student boy.
Were you on watch last night as well?
Of course.
And did you notice anything at the time?
I saw nothing unusual. Nothing at all.
And you didn't hear any strange noises or sense anything wrong in some way? Why are you looking to the side?
I said no.
Sorry. Could you tell us who's traveling in the cabin next to Mr. Asogi's?
His name is Mr. Grimsby Roylott. He's a very important Western gentleman. Do not think about it. He has nothing to do with murder of student boy.
Could you tell us when Mr. Roylott came aboard?
That is not your business.
Come to think of it, even though we've been at sea for 2 weeks now, and I've been in Kazuma's cabin the entire time, I've never once heard anything from the next door cabin, or even felt like there's anyone there.
This is enough. I cannot say more now.
Oh.
It is time for me to report to Captain.
This is it. This is the cabin next to ours, the one the ventilator connects to. What was that? It came from inside the cabin. Oh, that was not... okay. Such a high-pitched scream. It must have been a woman. Oh,
stand aside. I'm about to break the door down.
Mr. Sholmes.
I shan't be stopped. When the fit is on me, I revel in kicking doors off their hinges.
Please, wait, Mr. Sholmes. The door doesn't appear to be bolted.
It doesn't. Then how the deuce can I dispatch this muscular urge? What pray can I...
Oh! Oh, it's you! Wait, you look a bit different. Yeah, no.
Who are you?
A Western gentleman. This man looks Russian to me. We heard a woman scream.
A woman? Don't be absurd.
This old man does appear to be the only one in here. But in that case, who just screamed?
Please excuse the intrusion, but you're Mr. Grimsby Roylott, I believe? Yes, that's me. And you are? I am the one and only, the actual Herlock Sholmes. You've heard of me, no doubt. No.
We distinctly heard a scream emanating from within these walls. But there wouldn't appear to be a lady concealing herself within the wardrobe this time. So might I be bold as to ask you to open that small traveling case?
What? Don't be stupid. How could anyone fit in a small trunk like that?
Huh. Well, it's quite fashionable these days, is it not? Traveling inside one's trunk. Don't look at me. Oh, look at that. Oh my, did you see that, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, the case just shook. What are you doing? What? Why would you? Are you just being a little silly guy? Do you have a moment, please, Mr. Sholmes? What were you doing in there?
Why, I was resting, of course.
Resting?
Indeed. I was contemplating our sea voyage from the confines of the wardrobe whilst waiting. waiting for the inevitable time that you would need to call my great powers of detection into service. Our Russian host in this cabin, Mr. Roylott, is clearly trying to hide something. Can you imagine how the Russian will react when the secret he guards so closely is exposed? Would you like to witness it?
Oh, yes, please.
Well then, what you're about to see may well astound you. For I'm about to apply my great detective's greatly admired great deduction to the case. From time to time it occurs to me, is the fellow dubious on account of his Russianness, or Russian on account of his dubiousness? Oh my god. What are you doing? Why are you peering at my face like that? Ah, just as I thought. Yes, I have quite made up my mind now.
Oh, wait, are they stowing away the girl who was being fled from the thing, which I completely forgot about? This? The prima ballerina? I forgot about her.
Mr. Roylott, I've reached two incontrovertible conclusions. Number one, your true identity is that of a villain. Using those shears, you're about to end the existence of something most dear. Are you not? And number two, the other conclusion I've drawn, you are, at this very moment no less, in the midst of committing a most grievous crime.
Oh, Narhodo-san, I never imagined I would witness one of Mr. Shom's great deductions with my own eyes. That was a great deduction? Nothing can deceive Mr. Sholmes. In a single glance, he can deduce all there is to know about a person. What ineffable twaddle! Oh my god, Ryunosuke breaking out the dictionary for that. I can hardly believe it, but all the color is drained from Mr. Roylott's face. It looks like somehow both of Mr. Shom's conclusions were right?
How could you? How can I possibly know such things, you wish to say? I shall explain how it was that I arrived at this pair of conclusions. So I cordially invite you upon a journey of logical discovery. Let us board the train of reasoning. Put plainly, let us work through my deductions together. Oh, whoa! The great deduction. The game is afoot. Oh my god, yes! So, the dubious-looking Russian, Mr. Roylott, obviously what catches the eye in the first place. Yeah, it's the shears. It's the enormous pair of shears in your hand. Oh, what's that in the other pocket then? Now we ask ourselves, what could you possibly want with such an implement? The answer, of course, is staring us right in the face. You're on the verge of using the shears to cut away the copious beard you sport. That's apparently not true. Now, moving on. Why would you desire to rid yourself of this magnificent beard, Mr. Roylott? Once again, the answer is plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter. Regard, if you will, this morning's newspaper, in particular, the fascinating front-page article. Which it would appear you have read also, Mr. Roylott. Yeah, I noticed that. I'm sure it needs no further clarification. The evidence that reveals your true identity is the article about the revolutionary. As you can not fail to observe, the subject of this article possesses an extremely copious beard. But he's a different nose. Yeah, maybe, I guess. Having noted the article yourself, you decide to remove your incriminating facial hair before it gave you away. In short, your true identity is beyond doubt. You are the fearsome Russian revolutionary himself, villain Bolshevik. Now, as for my second conclusion, you are at this very moment on the brink of committing the most grievous crime. And the proof of this crime, over there. Wait. Oh yes, Mr. Roylott. Taken unawares, people have a propensity to let their eyes stray, you see. Oh, he said over there to make him glance over there. But I assure you, the eyes speak so much more eloquently and honestly than the mouth. The proof of your crime sits before our very eyes, yes, that traveling case. It is time, I think, that the case be opened and its contents laid bare. No, I refuse. What could you possibly be concealing inside, we ask? By my estimation, a young lady, perhaps. One slight enough to fit therein. Ha! Don't be absurd. And what, pray, would be the identity of this young lady in the traveling case? Dear me, we are not well suited to a life of crime, are we? Your careless oh my god! Coup d'oeil. But that means like a coup of the eyes. That's amazing. That's so good. Once again, we need only follow your furtive glance to find the answer. Yes, the reason you refuse to open your traveling case can be equally found in the pages of this newspaper. For there is another, most stimulating article. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. Such a headline can lead us to only but one conclusion. Your crime is that of an abduction. Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of this Russian enigma. Elemensky. That wasn't one of the great deductions I've been hearing so much about, was it?
Mr. Naruhodo, something's occurred to me about Mr. Sholmes' deductions just now. I think his powers of observation are, well, magical. His eyes cut to the heart of the matter almost instantly. It's just where he directs his attention and logic that seem a little off.
Take a moment to look at your wrists.
My wrists?
What? Huh?
Where are your handcuffs?
I felt they may hinder your ability to follow me in our, well, dance of deduction. And don't worry, I shall restore the shackles to your wrists when we are finished.
I'm not worried. In fact, I'd rather stay like this.
So, let us begin. Herlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular.
Oh, yo, course correction? Hold it, Mr. Sholmes.
You are on the verge of using the shears to cut away the copious beard you sport.
Alright, yeah, okay, here we go. Oh, shoot! Oh, shoot! Oh my god, that's crazy! Yeah, cut the hair. Whoa, that's cool! Oh, yo! You are on the verge of using the shears to cut away the golden locks you sport.
Indeed. You have identified the precise detail I was intending to expose.
Oh shoot, okay, never mind. We know exactly who this is actually going to be then.
Such lush, golden hair certainly does not befit an old man.
You're not a man at all. You're a woman, judging from the length and sheen of your hair.
One still very much in her youth.
Oh no!
If only I'd managed to cut off my hair, no one would have suspected.
Just putting on a voice.
The question then begged is this: why would you desire to rid yourself of these magnificent locks? Once again, the answer is plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter. Huh. I'm sure it needs no further clarification. The evidence that reveals your true identity, an article about the revolutionary.
That is clearly this.
Yes!
Yeah. Ha! The evidence that reveals your true identity is, of course, the article about the... So he took off the things just that we could use our hands in this, and then he's going to put them back on. That's really funny.
That's right. You've hit the nail on the head. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai.
Ooh.
It would appear that we are finally able to address you by your true name.
Yes, because your true identity is that of the Novovich Ballet's prima ballerina. Ha. Dang. You're right. My real name is Nina. I mean, Nikolina Pavlova.
Now, as for my second conclusion... You are at this very moment on the brink of committing a most grievous crime. And the proof of this crime? Over there. The proof of your crime sits before our very eyes. Yes, that traveling case.
Oh, shoot. Oh, shoot. I didn't even see that. What's that?
Tiara.
Proof of your crime is surely this tiara. I believe this tiara is worn on stage by dancers in the Novovich Ballet, is it not?
Indeed, it would appear to be identical to the tiara pictured here in this newspaper article. And if the reporting is to be believed, it's an item worth 20,000 rubles.
The crime you have committed is theft. I have no one, no family, no friends. I am alone, all alone, and I need money. But I did not steal the tiara. It was a present from, how do you say? An Earl of Prussia. It belongs to me.
There remains one unsolved mystery about you.
Mystery? What do you mean?
You have staunchly refused to open this traveling case of yours in our presence. It is reasonable to conclude, therefore, that there exists some reason why you wish it to remain closed. My dear girl, there's no sense playing games with me. Nothing escapes my attention. Indeed, I have a very good idea of the contents of your case, even before I've ever laid my eyes on them. Once again, we need only follow your furtive glance to find the answer. The reason why you refuse to open your case is written on the books on the shelf.
He's completely changed tack with his deduction now. I think Mr. Sholmes is adapting his logic to the changing circumstances, don't you? Maybe, but why has he suddenly brought the bookshelf into all this? It's just a wild guess, surely.
Rules of passage? Oh, is it going to say no pets? It's clearly this.
Yes! Yes, the reason why you refuse to open your case is written in the rules of passage. As we've seen, the trunk wobbles from time to time, but no weapon or other dangerous item would move of its own accord.
Which leaves but one possibility, Miss Pavlova, inside your traveling case.
Yo! The bros! Yo! Oh, this is so good! Is the last item listed as it's forbidden in the vessel's rules of passage.
A pet.
So clearly, you aren't who you said you were. My real name is Nikolina Pavlova. Everything you said was correct.
You absconded during one of your ballet company's performances in order to escape your homeland. Later that same night, you stole aboard this vessel.
Could she really have snuck on board without being noticed? There's just one more thing I'd like to know. What exactly do you have inside your traveling case?
It's gonna be a snake.
You were right. It is my dear friend inside. Please, don't tell anyone. If the captain finds out, if you say to any of the crew.
Your secret is safe with us, I assure you. But in return, you must tell us, in as much detail as you can muster, about the events of last night. One more thing. Oh, yes? What? Observe your wrists. Oh, damn it.
Did you notice anything unusual last night? Perhaps you heard a strange noise, for example. Perhaps people talking.
Perhaps the ship was absorbed in a wild tempest. Perhaps its steam engine exploded.
Perhaps everyone on board would have noticed if that had happened. I'm sorry, but all I could think about last night was what I had done and whether they would find me. I didn't notice anything that was happening around me.
Oh, I see. You've run away from your ballet company, haven't you? The Novovich Ballet?
The Novovich Ballet gives us only a little food and water, and we must dance all over the world. I had to run away. I had no choice. If I stayed, it would have killed me. The crew of this ship, they have all been kind to me. They let me come on board, and they said I could hide in this cabin.
Oh, if that is indeed the truth, Miss Pavlova. It creates a most intriguing conundrum. Yeah, Miss Pavlova, allow me to pose you a riddle. According to this newspaper, it was only yesterday that you absconded from this ballet. It must have been last night that you boarded this vessel. However, the SS Beria stopped by no port last night.
Oh! Now that I think about it, the crewman outside the cabin acted very strangely when we mentioned that.
Hmm?
An angel descended from the heavens, bringing grace and beauty to the stage.
Sorry? What was that?
It is how the Russian newspapers described one of my performances. And that is how I came here too. I descended from the heavens, because I am an angel.
Okay. That doesn't give us any answers. Oh, ruh-roh. Excuse me, Mr. Roy Lott. Yes, what?
Wow, she's fast.
Captain would like to speak with you. You must come to Captain's quarters at once, please. You must leave, now.
Looks like we'll have to leave investigating his cabin until later. What if Inspector Hosanaga's managed— oh, right. Oh, buddy. Not looking too hot. Oh, pal. When I told the captain I'd given you permission to investigate, he told me he'd pummel me with his fists, then toss me overboard. What? But the pummeling was over in a flash, and he must have decided against throwing me overboard. So it was nothing, really. Poor Inspector. You look exhausted. The truth is, I seem to have had a heavy head ever since I woke up this morning. A heavy head? Oh, that's interesting. My head's still throbbing too. Well, thanks to your efforts, we now know a little about the neighboring cabin. Yes, so I understand. Oh. I bumped into a man claiming to be a great detective a little while ago. Oh, Mr. Sholmes was here, was he? Yes. He seemed to be enjoying himself a little too much as he crept about on the floor investigating. Did he say anything at all? It's shoe polish, was all he said. Shoe polish? What is it, Susato-san? Well, Kazuma-sama was wearing leather shoes with a very dark tan hue. Dark tan? Sort of dark brownish red then. Oh, does this mean that this mark was made by the polish on Kazuma's shoes as they scuffed on the floor? The Buria's medical officer has finished his examination of the body. I managed to obtain the report. So, what was the cause of death? Damage to the cervical vertebrae. His neck was broken. Yes, it would seem so. There were no obvious wounds or other signs of injury. So at first, I think they were considering poison. But it turns out they found no trace of poison in his system at all. Well, what weapon was used then? Well, that's strange. This feels to me like he tripped, his headband got caught on something, and it broke his neck. Right? Nothing has been found as of yet, but the fact that there are no signs of a wound suggests it may have been a blunt object. Oh? Something that wouldn't leave a mark. I have a second copy of the report. If it might be useful, you're welcome to have it. Really? Are you sure? Yes, it's fine. I trust you. Oh, after all, if I didn't trust you, I'd never have agreed to you leaving this cabin in the first place, would I? Oh. Oh. Oh, hey, buddy. What's up, my friend? Oh, it's Mr. Sholmes, look. I was immersed in the study of the ship's log as penned by the stockily-built crewman, who's usually on guard here. After 2 a.m. this morning, the majority of the entries are blank. Which means there was nothing to report. Your logic, my boy, is inverted. Whatever do you mean, Mr. Sholmes? Observe the other pages and all shall become clear. It would seem the same crewman off-stands sentry in this first-class passageway. He has an almost religious practice of recording nothing to report every half hour. And yet, the ship's log from last night is largely blank. There were circumstances afoot last night, which led to the seaman being absent from his post. Ooh, ouch. What is it, are you hurt? Oh, don't worry yourself. I seem to be afflicted with a throbbing head this morning for some reason, nothing more. Okay, this is strange. Something wrong, Susato-san? You seem lost in thought. It's just... well, I feel the same. Sorry? Ever since I woke this morning, I've had something of a headache. A sort of continuous throbbing. Oh, you too. Miss Pavlova isn't back yet. Susato-san... oh, where's she gone? Hey, what are you doing? Those are her private things. There's not a moment to waste, Naruhodo-san. It can't be long now until we arrive at port. In Hong Kong. I don't want you to be in those handcuffs when we get there. What's with this plate? I wonder what this little saucer is doing on the floor, acting all saucy. All the books have toppled over together. Look, every single one. It's exactly the same as the bookcase next door. In Cosmo's cabin. Well, anyway, I'll set them all straight again in here, too. Okay. What else you got here? Oh my, Miss Pavlova's case is open. It's completely empty inside. But according to the great detective's great deduction, she was hiding her special friend in there. Door? This cabin door is the same simple sort of bolted latch that our cabin door has. The bolt's drawn across. There's no way anybody could enter the cabin from the outside. Yes, it's not a particularly heavy-duty bolt, is it? But still, it wouldn't slide across of its own accord, would it? Uh-oh, the alarm's ringing. What's that?
Oh. Shut down the engines immediately. Vessel sighted a quarter-mile 4. Full stop, hard to starboard. All hands brace for impact.
What the? I think we're about to crash into another ship. What? Oh, geez. Sasato-san, are you alright? Are you injured at all? I think I'm fine. Thank you, Naruhodo-san. The stuff fell over again. Looks like we avoided a collision.
Hello, is anybody in there? Shout if you need assistance. Is that you in there, Naruhodo-san? Unbolt the door, quickly.
The bolt gets locked when the ship is about to crash.
You! What are you doing, Miss Pavlova's quarters?
What on earth happened? We heard something about how we were going to collide with another ship. There's a dense fog outside, so it's extremely difficult to see. Someone must have thought he saw a ship ahead. This person obviously triggered the alarm, and that's why we made an emergency stop.
Everything is chaos. Passengers are screaming. Crew are running everywhere.
Someone triggered the alarm? Does that mean that someone pressed that button outside? You wicked intruder, dressed in all black, you are the devil. Sorry? Me? You opened my traveling case. How could you? What? No, we didn't touch it. I know he did it. He is a criminal. Is it not enough that he has killed a man?
Duh. And he is stowaway as well. If Vixen promises not to steal chicken, do you believe?
What? This is a real crisis. I've got to find a solution. Immediately. Okay, let's see here. I swear to God. What the? What are you doing up there? Wait. Naturally, I was analyzing what a weight of 20,000 rubles feels like on one's head. You again, the great detective. Inspector! I confess I've been looking for you. I have something to report to you most urgently.
What is to report? Speak!
An urgent report from a great detective can mean but one thing. Yes, the case of the curious murder that took place last night here on this vessel, the steamship Burya, has been solved. By me, naturally. What? Really? Hoo-ha, hoo-ha! Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing? There's a distinct element of danger, but fear not, I am ready. What I'm about to expose for you all to see will shock you to your cores. Hoo-ha! Behold! What the? Oh, yeah, there it is. Allow me to introduce you all to the band. The Speckled Band. Oh, my God. It looks more stripy when you say... Oh. I think perhaps it is time I explain the intricacies of my train of thought. Are you ready, Miss Pavlova? I'm sorry for the young man who died, but that is all. His death has nothing to do with me. This whole thing has nothing to do with me. There are two conclusions I've drawn from the facts. Number one, last night your friend infiltrated the victim's cabin. Huh? And number two, that same friend was responsible for the victim losing his life. No. She's turned as white as a bowl of rice again. Sholmes must be right. He's hit the nail on the head.
Miss Pavlova, moments ago you claimed the following. His death has nothing to do with me. The whole thing has nothing to do with me. Yet you cannot deceive yourself. Oh, yes, she looks guilty. Yes, when you recall those horrid events, your aching heart smarts with pain.
It's gonna be her hand. Oh, yeah, boom, right there, huh? I mean, that's clearly it, though. Interesting. Yes, when you recall those horrid events, that claw scratch smarts with pain.
Indeed, and simple observation reveals that the wound is fresh.
Miss Pavlova, did you in fact receive that scratch sometime last night?
Ah. When I think about the young man who died next door, I feel so sad. And when I am sad, the pain from this wound is worse.
And it is that very pain that evidences your inextricable link to the victim's death. So we ask, what was the nature of this intruder that stole into the victim's cabin on that portentous night? Why, naturally, it was the friend with which you boarded this vessel, was it not? Yep. As I suspected, another telltale glance. Without doubt, your friend is the writhing... It's not the serpent.
Oh, or cat. Well. Yep, there it is.
That's a good boy!
Yes!
Without doubt, your friend is the little kitten we see before us.
Yes, the scratch on the back of your hand makes that abundantly clear.
Oh no.
The whereabouts of this little black kitten isn't clear, but what is clear is that you brought the animal with you and you ran away, didn't you?
Darka is my best friend. I couldn't leave her behind.
Darka would appear to be a Russian blue. And yet that fact leaves us in a quandary. The victim's written observations on the night in question tell of a speckled band, whereas regrettably, this specimen's markings do not fit that description in any way. What explanation can we give then, pray? What was this sight that fell upon the victim's eyes last night?
No, don't look at me. This has nothing to do with any of this.
Oh, but it does. You have the answer to this quandary even now, hidden behind your back.
What is that?
Yes, that which you are trying but failing to conceal could only be a snake's slowed skin.
Oh, is it a cat toy? That's a cat toy. Yes, the thing you are trying but failing to conceal is, a cat's toy.
Precisely, in the true nature of the now infamous speckled band. And it was this toy that you dangled through the ventilator. You waved it around, I presume. Naturally, the victim could not fail to notice it. So I'm super wrong. But why? For what reason? After her feline friend disappeared through the ventilator to the neighboring cabin, Miss Pavlova attempted to use the speckled cat's toy to incite the creature to return.
It was after I gave her her food last night. That's when it happened. She scratched the back of my hand and then ran up the bell cord. Before I could do anything, she had disappeared through the ventilator.
Moving on, we come to the heart of the matter, the grim demise of the victim. How did this young man lose his life and why? According to the data of which I have been apprised, it would appear there are no visible signs of injury. In fact, the circumstance of the victim's death can only be explained by a terrible venom.
He doesn't have the post-mortem log.
Yes!
In fact, the circumstance of the victim's death can only be explained by the post-mortem report.
Ah, yes, I knew it was one or the other.
His neck was...
Indeed, the breaking of the cervical vertebrae is fatal. Only that Goliath would be strong enough to survive that. Seaman Stroganoff isn't some immortal freak, you know. The jury is out. Anyway, we have on good authority that the victim's neck was broken. Now, if we take that as fact, we can reasonably imagine that there remains evidence to affirm it at the scene of the crime.
Oh no, could there be?
Yes, an examination of the deceased's body will prove the cause of death conclusively. He slipped.
Yes!
Mark on the floor. Yes, an examination of the mark on the floor will prove the cause of death conclusively. This particular mark, so prominently visible next to the victim's body, is a deposit of shoe polish.
Shoe polish?
Indeed, positively identified by a little announcer device I constructed, which I carry now as a matter of fact.
I don't know. I don't know anything about this.
Is that really true, Miss Pavlova?
Oh.
What about the evidence left at the scene where Mr. Asogi lost his life? Yes, the facts are as clear as day to me. You did all you could to conceal the incriminating evidence. But now your involuntary glance betrays the hiding place you chose. That's right, you hid the evidence that links you to the victim's death in the traveling case. No. Waste paper basket. Let me check. Oh, frick, well there it is. Oh, what's that?
It's a broken piece of glass, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And I feel like I've seen it somewhere before. Is that the bell of the cat?
Yes!
Mm-hmm. That's right. You hid the evidence that links you to the victim's death in the waste paper basket.
Ah!
Here we have a fragment of some intricate glass object, it would seem. One that has a familiar air, in fact. Precisely. We found another piece of broken glass on the floor in Mr. Asogi's cabin. Why would it be that this part of this glass object, which was evidently broken at the scene of the victim's death, should be found in the waste paper basket in your cabin? You're well acquainted with this glass bell, are you not?
I don't.
I don't know, and that hushed Russian accent of yours won't save you this time, dear girl. Why? Because we have conclusive evidence linking you to the bell in question.
What?
Take it away, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes. The evidence linking Miss Pavlova and the little glass bell, that would be... Boom.
Right here!
If you look at this photograph, you can clearly see, hanging from darkest collar, the very glass bell in question. The truth has caught up with you, Miss Pavlova. The young man who lost his life last night did so after a truly inauspicious fall. And the cause of that fateful stumble? Your absent feline friend, Darka. So it was literally an accident. But what became of the kitten afterwards?
In the end, I managed to get her to come back through the ventilator.
Yeah, Darka's nowhere to be seen.
I must have forgotten to lock my case.
That's okay, now we're back in lie territory. Oh, hold on a minute. What about this snake? You're right, where is it? If the snake isn't your friend, Miss Pavlova, then whose is it and where did it come from?
Oh, I didn't say? Snake is my friend. His name is Piroshko.
Miss Pavlova. I understand the difficult situation you found yourself in, and I do sympathize. But please remember this. A young man lost his life. If you're going to attempt to cover up your guilt with lies, then no matter what the circumstances, I cannot forgive you. Even I can see that was not the truth. Don't you agree, Mr. Naruhodo?
To be perfectly honest, yes.
There's a discrepancy in Miss Pavlova's story, I'm sure of it. Sholmes, you're acting a little more unmoving than normal. I confess, I was intending to let Scotland Yard deal with any outstanding issues on this matter. I'm only present here for a very specific reason. Huh. The truth is, you, Mr. Naruhodo, are simply a distraction. A distraction? But I overlooked one important detail. The deceased young man was a very close companion of yours. Was he not? Yes. Cosmo was my closest friend. I owed him my freedom even. In that case, we must follow this to its conclusion. No further distractions. You must uncover the real truth here, Mr. Naruhodo. Was this truly an unfortunate accident? Or was it in fact no accident at all? That is what we must establish in the first instance. There's a clear contradiction between the facts and Miss Pavlova's story here. The evidence is right there in Cosmo's chamber. It's undeniable. His death couldn't possibly have been a mere accident. Really? Let us show our hand, Mr. Naruhodo. Time to present the evidence. The evidence that proves Oh yeah, we're in court! Oh jeez! Okay. Yeah, why would he do this otherwise?
Yes!
Like, why would he do this otherwise? The truth is clearly recorded in this photographic print. There's no way that Mr. Hisogi could have left this message on the floor. And the reason why is so clearly explained here. Damage to the cervical vertebrae resulting in instant death. Putting this message on the floor aside, there's something else that gives the truth away. Another piece of evidence that proves this was no accident. In other words, what are we... This piece of broken glass next to the mark on the floor. Oh, how's it back here? Both these pieces of evidence clearly point to the same conclusion. That when Mr. Hisogi died last night in his cabin, there was someone else in the room. And that same person deliberately arranged the scene to disguise the truth. Yes, there was someone else present in Mr. Hisogi's...
Nina is woman of the sea. She is daughter of strong sailor. She was dancer on this ship, a member of ship's band. You do not accuse ship's angel of being criminal. Look truth in eyes. Cabin bulkhead was bolted shut from inside. Nobody could go in cabin.
So Seaman Stroganoff has a valid point. The cabin door couldn't have been bolted shut from the outside. Not necessarily. One way does spring to mind, yes. Do you really know what Mr. Sholmes means, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, and so should you. Look at the bookcase there. See how all the books and things on it have toppled over? That must have happened when the ship made its emergency stop before. The same force that pushed over those books on the bookcase also made something else in this cabin move. The bolt on the cabin door. Ah, are you trying to say that last night, after Mr. Hisogi was killed, the SS Buria made another emergency stop? When I woke up this morning and looked around the cabin, I thought it looked a little odd. All the books on the shelves had toppled over, and all the ornaments. Then, when I came into this cabin, we were surprised to see the same thing in here. All the books and everything had toppled over.
Are you out of your mind? You say Buria made emergency stop.
It does seem a little far-fetched. How could that possibly have happened? Are you forgetting the button in the passageway outside? Used to trigger the emergency alarm? When the button is pressed, two things happen in the interests of safety. The emergency alarm bell rings and the vessel comes to a complete stop. As indeed I did a little earlier today. Last night, after what happened to Mr. Hisogi. Did this ship make an emergency stop?
You are idiots. Buria is a huge ship with many passengers. We make emergency stop even in middle of night. There will be chaos everywhere.
What evidence promotes a theory that some emergency gripped this vessel last night? I mean, I'm thinking maybe this.
Yes!
Looking at what you usually record, it's clear that under normal circumstances, you write the phrase nothing to report every 30 minutes. But from 2 o'clock last night until first light this morning, nothing was recorded at all. Nothing recorded in the log.
That is, because nothing happened.
But if nothing happened, you would normally write nothing to report, wouldn't you? If something as major as an emergency stop really had happened, surely all of us would have noticed. What of the throbbing? Sorry, what do you mean? The throbbing of your head since this morning. I have had a headache, you're right. In fact, I haven't been feeling myself since I woke up today. Nor have I. He's right, my head's been throbbing today too. And since eating dinner yesterday evening, everything has felt sort of hazy.
Tell me, Mr. Naruto.
You boarded this vessel as a stowaway, didn't you? Oh, well, yes, sorry. A stowaway class of accommodation doesn't usually include meals. What did you survive on? Oh, well, Cosmo looked after me. He was always happy to share his meals. So you enjoyed some of the whole roast chicken dish that was served yesterday evening, I take it? Yes, in fact. I had all of that. Cosmo wasn't fond of chicken. Wait, was the chicken poisoned? My dear fellow, does that not strike you? Yo, did we have NyQuil chicken? I'm sorry to say that any more deception in this matter will get you nowhere. If you refuse to talk, there would have to be an inquiry made through the shipping company, of course. And were that to happen, every member of the crew, and the captain himself, would be hauled over the coals. For aiding and abetting a renegade. Please, no more. I will tell everything. When I decided to run away, I asked them to help me.
We all agreed to help. Everyone together. You are right. We put sleeping drug in chicken last night. At midnight in waters near Shanghai, we brought our angel on board.
So if that's what happened, the only people awake on the ship last night were the crew, people who disliked chicken, and the newly boarded passenger, Miss Pavlova. And that means it would have been possible for you. You could have used the emergency stop trick to lock Cosmo's cabin door. In summary, in order to fasten the bolt of a single cabin door on the ship, the culprit brought the entire vessel to an emergency stop in the early hours of the morning. Well, are you serious? It's pretty clear. Immediately clear.
Yes!
You seem to have quite a large purple stain on the back of your white uniform there.
Yes, I don't know where the dirt comes from.
Boom, bam.
Boop. Yes!
Yes, it's this photograph and the ink it shows. That's what caused a stain on your uniform. The Russian word on the floor next to the victim's body was written in purple ink. And the stain on the back of your uniform is ink of exactly the same color.
All right. Yes, I arranged everything in dead student's cabin to make it look like the wardrobe man did it. Then I pressed the button to make Boria do emergency stop and bolt cabin door shut. Everything that happened in cabin is like Angel told you.
The kid escaped through the ventilator into Mr. Sogi's cabin. Then he tripped over it and broke his neck when he fell to the floor?
Yes, that is right.
So after the incident when the cat ran away, Miss Pavlova then visited the cabin next to hers? Only to find its occupant lying lifeless on the floor. There's just one thing, if you wouldn't mind. When you went to Mr. Sogi's cabin, Miss Pavlova, was he already dead? Yes, that is right. Huh, something very nearly slipped my mind. Oh, Mr. Shums? This photograph. Yes, I took this myself, you know. There's one particular area in this photograph that seems to be somewhat unnatural. What are we getting at? The fist?
Yes!
Alright, if he really fell due to an unfortunate accident, then this fist just doesn't seem quite right. In a fall, one's instinct is to open the palms flat. Right. True. And here we see the victim with his left hand tightly balled into a fist. Almost, you might say, as though he were gripping something. I took the liberty of investigating the victim's fist a short while ago. You did? And what, pray tell, do you imagine I found there, my dear fellow? Oh! This is what I found. That crescent moon looks... it looks familiar somehow. I'm sure I've seen it somewhere before. boop, boop.
Yes!
Miss Pavlova, on your ear there. I see you have a crescent moon as well.
Ah. What?
And on your other ear, there seems to be a crescent moon missing. Now, the missing crescent moon was found in the victim's clenched fist. Clearly, there's only one logical conclusion. Wouldn't you agree, Miss... Oh, was it saying that he was alive? Oh boy, Miss Pavlova. Mr. Sogi must have grasped that crescent moon and pulled it from your ear. Perhaps just moments before he fell to the floor. In other words, last night in Mr. Sogi's cabin, you witnessed the moment when the victim fell with your own eyes. In fact, you were quite literally at arm's length from him. Oh boy. Please, Miss Pavlova, tell us the truth. Last night, what did you do to Kazuma? What are you doing here at this time of night, Inspector? Inspector? Oh. I'm sorry. I thought it was a friend of mine.
He helped me to find Darka, and he promised not to tell anyone. But then...
Just a moment. Sorry, but I'm sure I know your face. I've seen you somewhere before.
Ah!
Of course. You're Nikolina Pavlova, aren't you? The Russian ballerina.
Huh? No, I don't know that name. My heart nearly stopped when he said that. I have to tell him the truth and hope he doesn't tell anyone. I have no other choice.
I see. So you run away.
Please keep my secret. Don't tell anyone.
Give me a moment. I could use another opinion here.
He's going to pull the card. He's going to tell the captain. Why did I think I could trust him?
Oh no, he was gonna go talk to... No.
Then it happened. Everything at once. It was only a second, but it felt like forever. Wait, I shouted, and then... Darka jumped out of my arms and down to the young man's feet. And... as he turned around to look at me...
Oh! On the bedpost! Oh no, you actually murdered him! You said that you told Kazuma about the fact you'd run away from your homeland. And it's because you were worried he was going to tell the captain that you pushed him. But even if he had pulled the bell cord and called for the captain of the ship, aren't you friends with every member of the crew? Why would that have been a problem?
It was what he said first that made me scared.
What are you doing here at this time of night, Inspector?
I thought that if police knew about me, they would arrest me.
Was Mr. Asogi really going to pull the bell cord?
He was walking over to it. He was going to pull the cord. He was going to make them send me back.
Yes, what action was the victim really about to take at that moment? Can we determine whither the young man's gaze was directed? Yeah, the wardrobe, clearly. A good music track, though. Considering everything that had happened last night, certainly it may have looked as though Kazuma was going to ring the bell cord. Yes, however... what is directly beside the bell cord? The wardrobe.
The wardrobe?
And more importantly, what was inside the wardrobe? The man's great friend, sleeping soundly. Miss Pavlova? I want to thank you for finally admitting the truth. But unfortunately, the truth is, a man lost his life because of what you did. And that will never change. I hope you'll never forget that. What will happen to Miss Pavlova now, then? Once we reach Great Britain, she'll be handed over to the British police at Scotland Yard. Apparently, the English detective can speak to the immigration office and sort all that out. Mr. Sholmes can do that? So she won't be going back to Russia then. Even if she wanted to return in the future, I doubt she'd be able to. She ran away,
So now she's an exile for life.
I wanted to help our angel, no matter what. But I didn't think about you, about how you lost good friend. I will go with Nina. I will give myself to British police.
That's kind of you. Kazuma's death feels like such a it does. It feels like such a waste. I feel like not only just the fact that he died so quickly, which I mean was kind of expected but kind of not, but also the fact that, like, dang, he died in such a stupid way. And I don't mean that as a criticism 100% of the game, but like even the game's like, man, that sucks. Like it's part of the story. It's on purpose. Like it was such a unneeded death. I'm afraid you need to pack now. We're due to arrive in Hong Kong tomorrow. As much as it pains me, I'm going to have to hand you over to the consul to arrange your passage back to Japan. Oh, what's that? Is it someone weeping? Oh. Oh. Sasato-san? Naruhodo-san, I didn't know you had returned. Oh, well, I haven't been back long. Inspector Hosonaga just told me I should pack, you know, ready to leave the ship tomorrow and all that. I thought I could never forgive the person responsible. But now we know the truth. That it was just an accident. Just a silly series of mishaps. I swear to God, if this is him walking in and he's like, surprise, I actually survived, I would be mad, but this is probably Sherlock Holmes. I wish there was something I could say. Oh no, my duty was to see Asogi-san safely to Great Britain. But I failed, and caused his two closest friends great pain and suffering as a result. I've let everyone down. And I will do anything to make up for my terrible blunder. Nobody blames you, Inspector. And I'm free again now. Hoo-ha! Here to lighten the mood, everyone. We do appreciate all your assistance. I'd like to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Not at all, not at all. And though it's a little late, may I offer my sincere condolences. The loss of your companion is truly heartrending. I hope that you will be able to fulfill some of his aspirations in his honor. I'm afraid that won't be possible. We shall be disembarking at the next port in Hong Kong. We have to return to Japan and make a full report about everything that's happened. What? Wait a minute. It's just me that has to go back, isn't it? I mean, I was a stowaway. The terms of the study tour were negotiated by the Department of Justice in both Great Britain and Japan. It was to be one lawyer and one assistant. In the light of Mr. Asogi's unfortunate death, I'm afraid that the study tour can no longer go on ahead. Oh no. I don't care for me, but... Poor Sasato-san. My dear fellows, the majority of problems have an extremely simple solution, you know. All you require is one lawyer, and the study tour can continue, surely. Do you think perhaps I might be able to do it? I would work my fingers to the bone, Inspector, every single day. Will you let me try? And if by the time we reach Great Britain, I haven't learned enough to be recognized as a lawyer, I'll take whatever punishment is deemed appropriate. But why put yourself in such a difficult position? For Kazuma, he said that there was something he had to do in Great Britain. He was passionate about it. I can't let all that passion just come to nothing. I will become a lawyer. I have to. Qualifications are no measure of a man. What matters is his character. And you've witnessed ample evidence of this man's exemplary character today with your own eyes. From the early hours of this morning until this very moment now. Despite contending with the passing of his close companion, and despite the accusation of guilt, this man has shown resourcefulness, intelligence, and above all, courage. I did just make a promise, didn't I? I said that I'd do anything at all to make up for my shortcomings here. Mr. Naruhodo? I'd like you to take charge of this. What? Me?
Are you sure?
I'm sure it's what Kazuma-sama would have wanted. Its name is Karuma. It's a great sword that's been in the Asogi clan for generations.
Karuma? That's right. It's a prized sword that's been passed down through generations of the Asogi clan. I can't believe you managed to get permission to bring it with you. I mean, taking a katana on a study tour is more than a little irregular, surely. A Japanese man's sword is his soul, Ryunosuke. Can't be parted from my katana. Karma guides me. I truly believe that. So its name compels its wielder to slice evil in two? Not that you would need much compelling. On that subject, there's something very important that I have to do in Great Britain, and I'll sacrifice everything to make it happen. I'd appreciate you seeing it through with me. Of course I will. Whatever it is, I'll see it through to the end with you. I knew you wouldn't let me down. That important thing he had to do. I still don't know. I was gonna say, did you learn? I still don't know what that was. Oh boy. But I'm gonna see the place for myself and work it out. In Great Britain's capital, London.